Halloween, a night of costumes, candy, and spooky fun. We dress up as monsters, ghosts, and villains from our favorite horror movies. It's a night where make-believe horror is part of the celebration. But what happens when the line between a costume and a real-life monster blurs? What happens when the person behind the mask isn't just playing a part? Tonight we're going to delve into a case that haunts a California community to this day, a chilling reminder that on a night when everyone is wearing a mask, true evil can hide in plain sight. This is the story of the Halloween double murder. The year was 2004. The place was a quiet suburban neighborhood in California. Halloween was in full swing. Lawns were decorated with jack-o'-lanterns and fake spiderwebs, and the streets were filled with the laughter of trick-or-treaters. For 22-year-old Ann Mazzara and her 21-year-old roommate, Adriane Insogna, it was a night like any other Halloween. They had spent the evening handing out candy to neighborhood kids, enjoying the festive atmosphere from their home. Leslie was a former beauty queen from South Carolina, known for her bright smile and kind heart. She had moved to California with dreams of a new life. Adriane was a talented engineer, a smart and driven young woman with a promising future. The two were good friends, sharing a home and their hopes for what lay ahead. As the night wore on, the last of the trick-or-treaters went home, and a quiet calm settled over the neighborhood. Leslie and Adriane turned in for the night, unaware that their peaceful home was about to become the scene of an unimaginable nightmare. In the early hours of November 1st, just after midnight, a third roommate, who was sleeping downstairs, was jolted awake by terrifying screams coming from the second floor. Frozen with fear, she heard the sounds of a violent struggle, followed by the chilling thud of footsteps running down the stairs and out the front door. Panicked, she hid, waiting until an unnerving silence filled the house before daring to venture upstairs. What she discovered was a scene of pure horror. Both Leslie and Adriane had been brutally attacked in their bedrooms. She immediately called 911, her voice trembling as she tried to explain the horrific scene to the dispatcher. When police and paramedics arrived, the house was a chaotic and heartbreaking sight. Despite the desperate efforts of the first responders, it was too late. Both Ann Mazzara and Adriane Insogna were pronounced dead at the scene. The community was plunged into shock. How could something so violent happen in their quiet, safe neighborhood? The fact that it happened on Halloween night, a time meant for innocent fun, made it all the more disturbing and terrifying. Investigators began the painstaking process of piecing together what happened. The crime scene told a story of a violent and swift attack. There were no signs of forced entry, which led police to believe the killer might have entered through an unlocked door or window, or perhaps was even led inside. This detail sent a new wave of fear through the community. The monster wasn't just on the outside. They had been inside the house. As the investigation intensified, a crucial lead emerged from an unlikely source. A witness from a nearby Halloween party came forward with a strange and unsettling account. They reported seeing a figure near the victim's home around the time of the murders. This person was dressed in what appeared to be a costume, a long dark coat, and most disturbingly, a metallic-looking mask that obscured their face. On any other night, this might have stood out, but on Halloween, it blended in perfectly. The figure was seen walking away from the area, a silent silhouette against the dimly lit street. This report gave the case its chilling moniker, the Halloween double murder, the image of a masked killer. Moving unseen through a night of celebration was something out of a horror movie, but for the families of Leslie and Adriane, it was a devastating reality. CCTV footage from the area was scoured for any clue, any image that could help identify the person responsible. Investigators found a grainy video that captured a figure walking away from the crime scene. It was just a dark shape, a silhouette with no discernible features, as the face was completely hidden. Was this the masked killer the witness had described? Police believed it was, but the footage offered little help in identifying them. The mask, the costume, the darkness, it all worked together to create the perfect cover. The killer had used the very essence of Halloween as a shield, a way to commit a horrific act and then simply melt back into the crowd of costumed revelers. Everyone was a potential suspect, and everyone was a potential victim. The sense of security in the town was shattered. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The investigation continued, but leads grew cold. Police interviewed hundreds of people, friends, ex-boyfriends, partygoers, neighbors, anyone who might have had a connection to the victims or been in the area that night. They looked into every possible motive. Was it a random act of violence? Was it a targeted attack? Was it a robbery gone wrong? Every theory was explored, but nothing seemed to fit perfectly. The community lived in a state of heightened alert. Halloween, once a source of joy, was now a painful reminder of the tragedy. People were more cautious, locking their doors and looking over their shoulders. The masked figure became a local boogeyman, a real-life horror story that was far more frightening than any fictional tale. The case remained cold for nearly 2 years. The families of Leslie and Adriane were left in an agony of not knowing who had taken their daughters from them and why. The police, however, never gave up. They held on to a crucial piece of evidence from the crime scene, DNA. It was a tiny, invisible clue. But they knew that with advancements in technology, it could one day be the key to unlocking the case. And they were right. In 2006, a breakthrough came from a place no one expected. The DNA evidence was run through a national database, and it produced a match. The DNA belonged to a man named Eric Copple. The name was a shock to everyone, especially because Eric Copple was the fiancé of one of Adriane Insogna's closest friends. He had been to their home. He had socialized with them. He had even attended their funerals and comforted the grieving families. The revelation was horrifying. The monster wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows. He had been there all along, hiding in plain sight, wearing the mask of a caring friend. When confronted by police, Eric Copple confessed to the murders. His motive, he claimed, was jealousy and rage. He believed his fiancée was spending too much time with Adriane, and that their friendship was a threat to his relationship. On Halloween night, fueled by anger, he went to their house with the intention of confronting Adriane. He wore a costume to conceal his identity. He never intended to harm Leslie, but she was tragically in the wrong place at the wrong time. His confession painted a picture of a man consumed by a dark obsession, whose insecurities had twisted into a deadly rage. Eric Copple pleaded guilty to the murders and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Justice was served, but the scars left on the community and the families would never fully heal. The case of the Halloween double murder is a chilling and tragic story. It's a reminder of the darkness that can exist behind a friendly face, or in this case, a Halloween mask. It teaches us a powerful lesson about awareness and safety. On a night like Halloween, when the streets are filled with strangers in costumes, it's easy to let our guard down. We assume everyone is just having fun, but this case shows us that we must always remain vigilant. Check your surroundings, be aware of who is around you, and never be too trusting of crowds, especially when identities are concealed. The story of Leslie and Adriane is a heartbreaking one, but we tell it to honor their memory and to spread a message of caution. Be safe out there, not just on Halloween, but every day. Look out for your friends, trust your instincts, and always be aware of your environment. Thank you for joining me for this story. If you found this video insightful, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more content. Stay safe and take care of each other.